In this course, we will cover wheel end inspection, component inspection, installation procedures for Amsted Ultimate Seals, installation procedures for Amsted Unitized MVP Seals, installation procedures for Amsted Endurance Leather Pro Seals, and proper wheel end bearing adjustments using both single and double nut fastening systems. When addressing leaking at wheel ends, it's important to understand and identify the cause of failure to avoid unnecessary repairs and costly downtime. The leading causes of wheel end failure are the result of plugged hubcap or drive axle vents, incorrect bearing adjustment, contamination, improper installation of components, or worn, damaged components. Always be sure that wheels are blocked and vehicle is properly supported. Amsted Seals also recommends wearing safety shoes, eye protection, and gloves while servicing a wheel end. Remove hubcap and inspect. Vent should be free of debris. A plugged vent can lead to seal failure due to overpressurization of the wheel end. Inspect window for signs of leakage. Check for cracks in window, leakage around mounting screws caused by improper installation, leakage at window gasket, and check integrity of center plug. Also inspect mounting flange and bolt holes for cracks, corrosion, or warpage. If window gasket is damaged or center plug is discolored, it could mean that wheel end has overheated and should be inspected further. Amsted also recommends replacing hubcap if any damage or wear is noticed. If servicing wheel end due to wheel seal leakage, it's good practice to check wheel end play on conventional hubs prior to disassembly. Improper bearing end play on conventional hubs will lead to premature seal failure and possibly catastrophic wheel end failures. Next, remove axle nuts. Note wheel end fasteners can be single or double nut systems depending on manufacturer and customer preference. Inspect axle nuts for damage or wear. Next, remove outer bearing and hub assembly, taking care not to damage bearings during disassembly. Clean and inspect spindle. Amsted recommends using cleaners such as Brake Clean, which will not leave a residue. Clean axle shoulder. Be sure to remove rust and scale from the entire width of the shoulder. Clean spindle threads with hand wire brush and inspect for damage or burrs. And ensure entire seal surface is free of debris. Failure to properly clean spindle shoulder may result in premature seal failure. Finally, inspect spindle bearing journals for wear or flat spotting. Next, remove wheel seal with proper seal removal tool. Do not use a hammer and punch against the inner bearing to remove the seal. Clean hub. Seal bore. Hubcap mating surface, inner and outer bearings using clean solvent and brake cleaner. Do not spin dry bearings using compressed air, as the bearing could be damaged or personal injury could occur. Inspect hub seal bore for burrs and cleanliness. Use emery cloth to clean as needed. Inspect hubcap gasket mating surface, making sure all oil gasket material is removed. Inspect inner and outer bearings and races. If bearings or races show any signs of discoloration, pitting, spalling, or any other damage, they should be replaced. Amsted Seals recommends bearing cones and cups be replaced in sets. With all parts cleaned and inspected, it's now time to reassemble and install hub assembly. Lubricate inner and outer bearings with the same oil being used in the hub. Note, grease and semi-fluid applications will require that inner and outer bearings be packed with the same grease being used in the hub. Ensure that the correct seal is being installed. With hub lying in a horizontal position on a clean surface, install pre-lubed inner bearing. Now, using the proper Amsted Seals installation tool, install seal into bore until properly seated. Note, Amsted Seals offers 3 families of seals, each requiring different procedures for installation. Making sure to use the proper tool orientation, take care to tap evenly around the tool until the seal is seated in a uniform and flush manner. You'll hear the tone change when striking the tool once the seal is properly seated. Lubricate the shoulder of the spindle using a number 2 non-hardening sealant. Next, place the wear ring on the shoulder of the spindle. Using an axle driving tool, be sure to tap the wear ring in place, taking care to ensure an even and consistent placement on the back end of the spindle. Lubricate spindle with same lubricant being used in wheel end. Install hub, being careful not to damage seal, and fill with proper lubricant. Do not use excessive force when mounting hub onto spindle. The seal will slide into place after the first step of wheel end torque procedure. Install pre-lubed outer bearing. Bearing adjustment procedure. Amsted Seals recommends following the latest revision of TMCRP 618 wheel and bearing adjustment procedures. Install inner nut and torque to 200 foot-pounds while rotating hub several times. Next, back off the nut 1 complete turn. Retorque the inner nut to 50 foot-pounds while rotating hub several times. Perform final back-off according to axle type and spindle threads per inch. Use chart in TMC RP 618 for reference. Next, install lock washer. Note if holes in locking ring do not line up, turn nut looser. Install outer nut and install to TMC RP 618 recommendations. Measure bearing end play using dial indicator, ensuring end play is set between 1/1000 and 3/1000 inch. TMC's guidelines recommend 1/1000 to 5,000. If end play is not in range, outer nut and lock washer will need to be removed, and inner nut will need to be tightened or loosened according to measured readings. Note, if using a single nut fastening system or a preset hub with a bearing spacer, refer to manufacturer for installation instructions. Install hubcap with new gasket. Hubcap fasteners should be hand installed and tightened in a crisscross pattern. Bolts should be torqued to 14 foot-pounds. Allow oil to settle and check level. Add if needed. If using semi-fluid grease, fill hubcap to quarter level and install. If using hard pack grease, a thin coating of grease should be applied to inside of hubcap. Install fill plug, being sure to check that vent is clean and free of debris. Please follow the recommended procedures on the instructions included with each Pro Lock. Perform the initial torque set of 200 foot-pounds. Spin the hub 3 times. Then retorque to 200 foot-pounds. Repeat this process 3 times in total. On the third retorque, and after adjusting to 200 foot-pounds the final time, back off 1 full turn and adjust to 100 foot-pounds. Next, repeat the previous process of torque and spinning the hub while using a torque rating of 100 foot-pounds. After final torque, back up the nut 1 highlighted mark aligning the painted hash mark with a hubcap hole and backing off to the previous hubcap hole. Next, use a dial indicator to make sure adjustment is set between 1 and 5/1000 of an inch. Rotate the hub after the first check and push in and out on the hub to ensure dial indicator retains the same reading of between 1 and 5/1000. Finally, align the keyways up with the spindle in the recessed area of the nut, making sure the teeth align. Snap the keeper into place. Use the socket to check that the nut does not move. Installation is now complete. Following proper procedures and following recommended practices will ensure optimum seal life and wheel end performance. Thank you for choosing Amsted Seals.